Hello and welcome to DENIC Services. We are currently waiting for other participants and will start very soon with our webinar. Hello and welcome to our webinar today, the RDE Specification. My name is Jörg Topel. I am responsible for the contract management, and I'm working for DENIC Services since 2018, and I'm also specialist for data escrow and Anycast. This is the timeline for the transition. We are already in the transition period. That means you can currently work with the old specification, the 2007 one, and also with the new one from this year. Next year, on the 21st August, you must use the new policy, the new specification. There are two changes. This is the first change. It is mandatory to use a header mapping, and here we are showing you the requirements that are mandatory. We have written in red the items that are necessary, which are like the domain name, the expire date, the IANA ID, and so on. And some additional information in black, which are only necessary, like the postal code, if there are postal codes in the country from the registrant, and for example, billing contact name and addresses, which are only necessary for sponsored GTLDs. On the next slides, we will show you more in detail what this means. And I have forgotten one information. If you have any questions, there is a moderator chat in the menu. Here you can write your questions and we will answer them at the end of this webinar. This is a sample for a domain file, which is using also a handle file with the minimum requirements. So on the left, you are seeing the icon RDE spec numbers, and on the right, the field names, which are the columns in your deposit file. It is important that the icon RDE spec numbers on the left, they may not end with a dot. And of course, you can add your own fields in addition, like this. So for example, if you are storing for your billing contact the email address, or if you are storing name servers, you can add them here. This is a sample for a domain file without using a handle file, also with the minimum requirements. It's similar, but you are seeing on the file names on the left that there's no written the word handle. You may add abbreviation as described in the specification. The abbreviations are for fields in the same line of a domain. That means, for example, if your registrant is the same as the billing contact, then you can use, like it is written here, in the field for the billing contact name, like the abbreviation RT-name. That means that it's the same value as in the field of the RT name. And of course, you can also add explanations. Also here, the icon RDE spec in the first column may not end with a dot. And the comma is necessary even if you don't have abbreviations, because this is a header mapping with 3 columns, and that means you need the comma for the separation. And you can add your own fields in addition. Also like that, name, server information, billing contact, email address, or any other information and data. Here we have a sample also without using a handle file and which are including any additional columns that are described in the specification. In addition, there are also possible abbreviations. Please note that these all are only sample files. To make it easier for you, if you are going to the control center, there we have provided sample files which are very helpful if you want to work with them. And we will explain more and showing you also a sample deposit later. You need to provide the header mapping in the control center. After login, click in the menu on the left on My Account and then click on Icon Header Mapping. You can use simple copy-paste to insert your header mapping into the field. Don't forget to click on Save. Your header mapping needs to be valid. Our control center will check this. Of course, you can also delete your header mapping. This is for eligible groups. Don't worry. If you are an eligible group, it is not necessary to fill in the header mapping for each YANA ID. Just store your header mapping for one of your registrars. Our system will assign that header mapping to all other registrars. And this is important only for these registrars which are using the same PGP and SSH key. There's a deadline. This is the 20th August next year. Until after this date, you must have a header mapping in the control center. Otherwise, your deposits will be failed. Now we are coming to the second change. This is for registrars with a daily deposit interval. They are uploading once a week a full deposit and on all other 6 days an incremental deposit. And the method has changed. Now it is necessary with the new specifications to upload differential deposits instead of the incremental deposits. The terminology is described in an RFC, which is the number 8909. And there you can read everything about the difference between both deposits, the incremental and the differentials. So now here you're seeing a deposit sample, including a handle file. That is important. Domain must always be the first column. And there's something new. There's a column which is your YANA ID. It is necessary that it is in the deposit file. And for your registrant, you need to provide a phone number and an email address. This is also new. And just to inform you, the billing contact handle, this is only necessary if it is a sponsored GTLD. We are at the end of our webinar. So maybe you have some questions. I have a colleague here, Ralph, from our product management. Ralph, do we have some questions?
No.
So maybe there are coming some questions. If you have later questions, you can write us an email to escrow@denic-services.de. And we will answer them, of course. Is there a question, Ralph, before we're coming to an end?
Just remind on the video recording.
Yeah, we have recorded that webinar, and of course we can also provide that with a link. Is that right, Ralph?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. So then we are coming to an end, and we hope we have answered some questions, and do not hesitate to contact us, escrow@denic-services.de. I'm wishing you a great day and hope to see you soon to the next webinar or to the next conference. Goodbye.